So to start with, Lynn, I'd like you to state your name and the position you're running for.
My name is Lynn DePlank, and I'm running for the position of Ward 2 Councillor for the Township of Norwich.
Very good. And you have held that post before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. That may give you a bit of an edge here today, because some of these questions, obviously a councillor would have maybe a little better knowledge than someone who is just coming in green. So if you're elected, what are your plans? What do you want to see? What do you want to see done? How do you feel about a good balanced council for the remainder of the term and making it fair for all?
Okay. The things that are always coming back to mind have always been issues over the years. Our policing, of course, our aging infrastructure. The broadband is a continuous issue, but I know Execulink and I know Rogers, I know they're all working on trying to make it better, but and I think coming down very soon is affordable housing. And I know in a small township, like we don't have the urban area like Woodstock or Tillsonburg or Ingersoll that can build more high density housing, but I really think now that the county has brought on these making it easier to do additional residential units on property, I think that's going to help, and they're making it easier for people to add on, like do a granny flat or a granny suite. They're making that much more readily available for people without a lot of paperwork and trouble to do it. So that's important.
Okay. Ward 2 obviously is your ward. Your priorities, Ward 2 or Township?
Well, it's kind of not funny, but it's kind of interesting how people think when you represent Ward 2, you know, they don't want to call you if they live in Ward 3 or Ward 4 or Ward 1. But as a councillor, you have to represent the township as a whole. So when you're making decisions, you have to make the best decision for the township as a whole, not just one ward.
Very good. So the next question, and this was asked of, well, these same questions are the same exact questions that I asked William. And I'm not talking about the Dutch church, but I want to get your opinion on where do you align with church and state?
I've always been of the strict feeling that church and state have to remain separate. The decisions I make cannot be based on any of my religious beliefs. No, church and state are definitely have to remain separate if I'm going to represent everyone fairly.
Excellent. What are your thoughts on the big brothers and big sisters giving back their grant money?
Well, I think I agree with what they did. They made their decision, and that's how they feel, and we have to accept how they feel about that decision. But I support what they did.
With that, keeping that in mind, what do you think that this will preclude them from getting another grant in the future? Would that make them ineligible?
In my opinion, no. I mean, all my years on council, they came, every year, and we did give them a grant, and I would not hold that against them making that decision for this particular year. No.
So I don't know if you ever had this in your council career or not, but here's one that I want to ask, and I want you to just give it a few seconds to think about it. If you have a close friend that comes to a council meeting and requires or is having complaints about permits, road conditions, neighboring properties, what do you do? Very close friend. You have dinner with them, you have coffee with them frequently. What do you do?
Well, I would treat them the same way I would treat anybody else that comes to me with a problem. But you explain the protocol as to the steps. If you have a neighbor that's not cutting their grass, you have to put in a bylaw complaint, property standards complaint, and the township will deal with it. And in the past, I have helped people that have had some issues with the building department or other things that maybe they didn't feel was moving along as fast as it should. But lots of times once you explain to them, sometimes the hardships or whatever that the administration has to it, you can make it work. But just work with work with everyone and treat everyone equally. Whether you're my best friend or not, you're going to get the same treatment as somebody else does. So.
Okay. If I can get your opponent in front of my camera at the same time as you, would you participate in a debate?
I don't have a problem with participating in a debate. It's never been done really before with any of the all candidates meetings or anything. I guess they are sort of a debate because we all have our own opinion,
Somewhat,
right?
but not a one-on-one
No,
debate.
not a one-on-one. So it would be kind of interesting, I guess. But
This is roughly how it would work. There would be 2 or 3 people here to ask questions. I wouldn't. I'd strictly be the cameraman.
Mm-hmm.
Each candidate would get X number of minutes to answer, and then a rebuttal from the other candidate, and basically that's how it would work.
Mm-hmm.
Probably last 30 or 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to get really extreme, and I'm not sure I've got the technology to do this, but if you want to get really extreme, we could probably do something live where we could have a mail-in or an email-in, text-in component where the constituents could ask questions as well. Just the food for thought, Lynn. Nothing carved in stone yet.
Okay. I mean, it'd be basically like an all candidates meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Only we just have the 2 candidates, really.
Yeah, and it'd be a little more strict in that the timing would have to be a little bit more strict in that we would make sure that you stuck to your time.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got
Yes.
3 minutes, the gavel comes down.
Yes. Yeah.
And there'd be no stalking like like Trump did with Hillary. Okay. Here's another one, and this is one that has come up a lot with people asking me, would I ask this question? Why do we have rental portable washrooms at Harold Bishop Park and at the arena when we have built-in facilities? And if we find that that's not very economical or very feasible, would you push to change that?
Well, the question has come up before when I've been on council, and I did work hard with Patrick and James, and to see if we could have the building, especially up at Harold Bishop Park, if we could have that open. There was someone willing, a neighbor, that said he would open it up in the morning and indeed lock it up again at night. But the problem is there was a lot of vandalizing going on when they were open. Kids would plug up the drain for the sink and turn on the taps, and it would be flooded, and there was just a lot of stuff going on that didn't make it really possible to do that. But on the same token, the porta potties have been flipped over and turned over and damaged, and it's just frustrating that things like that keep happening. And I know with the arena, sometimes if there is a big function going on, it will be open so they can, if there's a big ball tournament and things like that.
I know they're open for the campers as well.
Yes.
I think they shower in there if I'm not mistaken.
They could in one of the dressing
Yeah.
rooms. Yeah, one of the change rooms. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Same line of questioning. Why do we have an arena crew that has all the equipment and it seems like they have the manpower, but yet we hire the grass cutting services?
They do a lot of the grass cutting services themselves, but we do hire it out also. I believe up in the past, our staff was looking after the ball diamonds and making sure they were in prime condition, and in the off season too. I mean, we have ice back in again already too, so they're already working back at the arena while the grass cutting is still going on.
Yeah.
So as much as people think that they could do all the grass cutting, we do have a lot of grass cutting. When you look at the parks, we have a park in each ward. There's a lot of cemeteries, and we keep getting more and more cemeteries.
They're cutting the cemeteries as well?
Yeah, we have a contract for that
Okay.
too. But so it is, and there's I think the Norwich Cemetery here in the village, and on Quaker Street, that is still run by a cemetery board. So,
Okay.
but people don't think there's as much grass as there possibly is, but we do contract some of it out.
Okay. So we've picked on Pat for a few minutes. Let's pick on the fire chief. Fire station in Burgessville had some issues. To your knowledge, has this been resolved? If not, what do you intend to do about it?
Well, to my knowledge, it has not been resolved. It's very frustrating because it's an issue that's been going on with the contractor and the township, and the frustrating part for me is some of the contractors that did the work, they're out money. And now basically I can say it was in the hands of the lawyers when I left, like the township lawyer and the contractors too. So, but it's so frustrating because you've got contractors out here, local contractors that did great work, and they're still not getting their full pay. So, as far as I understand, it has not been settled, but it's ongoing.
Okay, that brings us to the end of segment 1.